Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, good morning. It's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. It is Monday, March 28th, 2011 at 9 a.m., and that means no BS job search advice from me. No BS job search advice. I give you advice about job search, job hunting, different sorts of tips, advice, what have you, that come to mind. Beginning next week, I'm going to start taking call-ins on the show, so I'll talk about that a little bit more later in the show. But when all is said and done, I'm in a great mood today. Had a nice weekend with my son while my wife was teaching up at the Kadampa Meditation Center in Glens Bay, New York. Took him to a birthday party. I spent some time with him on Friday night. And while he was at the birthday party, I got an interesting email from someone in my office. And, we had one of those fun office moments. And by that I mean, Mega Millions. Mega Millions in the lottery had a jackpot this week of $319 million. And no, we didn't win it. But I got an email on Saturday as I was with my son at a birthday party about how we had four numbers plus the mega number, which won $10,000 for the group of us that had shared in these lottery tickets. So it was a fun moment for all of us. We were kind of squealing, and we're having a fun Monday morning as we talk about all this and share some of our stories here. So, we're all in a great mood because even though it all translates into 20 people, $10,000, $500 each, we were one number away from the whole shebang. And that would have been amazing. So congratulations to the 7 people in Albany, New York who won it. I know they're in IT and they're network professionals working for the state of New York because I was in the newspaper today, and that means they're going to be consulting assignments at the state that maybe we'll be able to go fill. So good morning, and let's talk a little bit about interviewing today. And for those of you who know my philosophy of interviewing, I'm sorry if this part's going to be a little repetitious to you, but my philosophy of interviewing is when you and the employer meet for the first time, or if you're having a phone interview and they're calling you up, and let's say you're introduced by me for the interview, you start off the interview with a simple question or a simple scenario, and that starts off with thanking them for the call. And then you say, I spoke with Jeff Altman about the job, and he gave me a brief description, but I want to get your take on the role. Tell me about the job as you see it and what I could be doing to help you. Now, why do I do that there? Because on the standard interview, most people, here's how a standard interview goes. You sit down, after you shake hands, they say, tell me about yourself. You talk about your experience. They go into a little bit more depth. They probe, they prod, they go into detail. Eventually they say, so do you have any questions for us? You tell them, tell me about the job. They tell you, you say, sounds great. I'd be interested. Terrific, we'll get back to you. Now, by following my advice, by thanking them for taking the time to interview you, and saying you had a brief thumbnail description but want to get their take on the role, asking them to tell you about the job as they see it and what you could be doing to help, what happens is you're getting the current thinking about the job. See, even if you have the ad, even if you have the original job description, it doesn't matter because it may have morphed from the original time that they put it together. After all, that's the institutional spec, the one that got them the approval. The ad that they may have written 4 or 6 weeks ago before they interviewed 20 people. So better to start off by asking them because the job may have evolved since that initial approval into something a little bit different or a lot different that they're not necessarily communicating with anyone. So by asking them that question at the beginning, what I want you to then do is tailor your answers to what they care about. You see, most people talk about what they've done, but they don't talk about what they've done in the context of what the firm is trying to hire. And by turning the bow on that for the employer, it just makes it a lot easier to win the interview and to get their attention. Now, here's where one little problem comes up. Because if you think back to the typical interview, you get to a point in the conversation where they say, so do you have any questions for us? And now you can't ask about the job. You got to talk about something different. So here's my suggestion for that part of the conversation. instead of asking them to tell you about the job, you can probe a little bit more about the role if they haven't already gone into a lot of depth with you. But better than that, here's what I'd like you to do. What you do is ask them, okay, I have an idea of the job from you, but let's say it's 6 months after I've started. What would cause you to write an exceptional review for me, and what could I do to allow you to look good in front of your management? Because after all, what you do, of course, affects how they present themselves. So the idea is you want to ask them about what you might have accomplished during that first 6 months to allow them to see you as an extraordinary hire, because you'd accomplish certain things for them that allow them to look good for their management. And what that does is give you a benchmark for what you want to accomplish, because obviously you don't want to be an ordinary person when they hire you. You want to be one of the top performers. So focusing on what the accomplishments are that you're going to need to make in order to be seen as a high performer is really what the goal is there. Now, there's some subtlety to this, because one of the things that you can discover is if they give you a neutral answer or something that's kind of innocuous, there's a message in that. And the message is either A, I haven't really thought about that, which always makes it kind of hard to succeed if you don't really know what the target is, and B, I don't really care enough to sell to you and to present those ideas to you. So I think it's a really useful question to ask, and you can from there explore some of the details of what the objectives are during those first 6 months that allow you to be seen as a top performer. So that's the philosophy that I have for interviewing. You want to talk about what you've done that fits what they're looking for. You want to figure out what the goals are that you're going to want to accomplish, and then conclude, of course, by thanking them for their time, and then asking them what next steps might be if they were interested in going forward is the very last thing. So let's talk about some of the jobs I'm recruiting for at this point. And for those of you who are international, this is not going to be for you. I'm just going to suggest you come over to my website, jeffaltman.com, and go exploring, because there's some stuff there for you in terms of places that you can post your resume and information. But for those of you who are in the U.S., these are some jobs that exist all over the country that might make sense for you. So let me start off with a sales engineer that can be based anywhere in the country with a background in Hadoop. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Hadoop. These roles are with a global professional services firm. So basically, they're looking for an architect who has worked with Hadoop and can go out and be a subject matter expert and an evangelist. They prefer a senior individual, but they'll take someone with a little less experience as long as you're prepared to do 80% travel. I have a role for a business intelligence data warehousing AVP for the same firm. And they're looking for someone who specifically has worked in financial services, plus has a background in consulting. So again, travel to 80%. At times it can be a little bit more, but when all is said and done, it's identifying clients, being an SME around financial services and data warehousing and business intelligence. And this is a role that you're working with clients, many of whom will be based in the New York area, but in theory they could be based anywhere in the country. Salary on that one goes to a base of $210 plus bonus. Then I have a BIDW program manager in Jersey City, salary to about $130. I have another role for a program manager with a BIDW background based in Cleveland. They're like the Jersey City job. They want a local individual to a salary of about $130. Then I have roles for program managers and architects. Those could be applications architects or enterprise architects at a senior manager level and above. Figure to about 150, maybe 170 on a base plus bonus. Also need program managers to about 130 who have worked in consulting just like the program managers and architects I mentioned before. I forgot to say that. These are the first group. I'm going to back up for a second. Program managers and architects at all levels, from a senior manager and above. So it could be a director for a base of 140 to about 175, 180 plus bonus. Then there are jobs to about 130. They're paid to about 120 plus bonus in Knoxville, St. Louis, and Dayton, Ohio. Then I have architect roles, again to about 120 on a base. They're located in Knoxville, Tennessee, St. Louis, Dayton, and Teaneck. I want to be clear, that's Dayton, Ohio again. In addition, I have a couple of other positions. I just want to get to something where I have them. I have a role for an SAP technical consultant that'd be based in Princeton, New Jersey. A background with ABAP methodologies and ABAP Workbench. Doing about 70-80% travel. SAP LSMW conversion. SAP BW background. At least 2 years of project experience as a consultant is preferred. Strong knowledge of SAP 4.6 and above. At least 2 years of background with FIGL, CO, FSCD, FSCS, FSCD, BW, or similar. So it's 100% travel role, and they will relocate someone. So, and lastly, I'm sorry, there's someone talking behind me. It got a little distracting for me. So if you're qualified, interested, and available, please email your resume to me at thebiggamehunter@cisny.com. If you know someone who might fit this a little bit better, feel free to forward your resume to me, but in the subject line, use the phrase on spec. Now, what I'll say to you simply about the job market is things have gotten a lot stronger in recent times. So if you're someone who, when all is said and done, is struggling to find an interview, is struggling to get hired if you're getting interviews, I'm going to suggest finding some coaching for yourself because firms are back hiring again. Now, obviously, if you've been out of work for a long period of time, it's a lot harder because you're competing with people who are currently working, and the bias the firms have that if you've been out for a long time, there's something wrong. So I'm going to encourage you, get some coaching because you got to fix what you're not doing right. And as much as I try to help you with interview suggestions and networking ideas and other things in this show and through my e-zine, No BS Job Search Advice e-zine, when all is said and done, I can't see what you're doing. I'm not observing how you present yourself physically on interviews or over the phone. So rather than try and kid you, get some coaching for yourself from someone local who can observe you and see how you're answering questions. Now, I mentioned that next week we're going to start taking callers. So if you'd like to call in, I'm going to provide a call-in number at the beginning of each show, but it's going to be something like 619-393-2917, and we'll take a couple of callers each show. So in the meantime, go to my website, jeffaltman.com. There's a lot of information there to help you with job hunting. Previous articles I published for No BS Job Search Advice, places where you can post your resume, access to Job Search Universe, the meta search tool that uses Google technology to search a couple of thousand job sites concurrently. Lots of places to post your resume, information about my job search books, and, of course, the ability to subscribe to No BS Job Search Advice e-zine. I publish that every Tuesday morning, or Tuesday at noon, I should say, with advice about job hunting. It's often a little bit different than what I do here. In addition, on Wednesdays, I do what's called a cinch, an audio about some of the jobs I'm recruiting for, plus an additional tip that you'll also receive free. So that's a $399 value I give away for free because it's tough out there and folks need help. So this is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. Again, forward your resume to me at thebiggamehunter@cisny.com. Hope you found the show helpful, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Carowinds hates spoilers. So instead of listing out every thrill you'll find at the park, we're going to just list off your reactions, in no particular order. Screaming, splashing, smiling, saying you're not nervous, being nervous, getting a second funnel cake, closing your eyes, opening them, closing them again, and having the best time ever. So sit back and enjoy the ride at Carowinds, including 4 new classic rides in the new county fair.
For a limited time, everyone pays kids' price. Only at Carowinds.com.
Carowinds hates spoilers. So instead of listing out every thrill you'll find at the park, we're going to just list off your reactions, in no particular order. Screaming, splashing, smiling, saying you're not nervous, being nervous, getting a second funnel cake, closing your eyes, opening them, closing them again, and having the best time ever. So sit back and enjoy the ride at Carowinds, including 4 new classic rides in the new county fair.
For a limited time, everyone pays kids' price. Only at Carowinds.com.